Hello everyone. Second news update for our Patreon and Boosty communities. Today is 26th of June. Now it's about 7 o'clock in the evening Moscow time, and let's go for a little walk, and I will show you some surroundings. I will turn right now. I'll show you some surroundings, and also in this video I will share some news that I have bookmarked for tomorrow's live stream. Nice park, isn't it? This is Kitai Gorod area or Chinatown area in central Moscow. Nice place. It's quite a long time since I recorded any video here, so why not start live stream, not live stream, but this update, second update here. And so yes, I have bookmarked quite a number of news on some major developments for tomorrow, and our Patreon and Boosty community will be first to hear about news from me, at least. And let's go that way. And I will start with a breaking news for this moment, which is that today Moscow and Kiev conducted yet another stage of POW exchange. I reported about it on my Patreon and Twitter X page. Once again, Defense Ministry did not share the information about number of POWs that was exchanged between the sides. All we know for now is that Russian POWs were freed, and a similar number of Ukrainian POWs were also released from Russian captivity. Maybe for tomorrow morning we will have some additional information on that, and of course I will share during the stream that information. Also, TASS News Agency and many other media outlets are reporting, based on Defense Ministry, that Russian armed forces liberated Novo-Sergeyevka and Shevchenko settlements. Both are in a DPR. And well, this morning I reported about Yalta, now 2 more settlements, and for tomorrow morning most likely we will have a couple of more settlements liberated. Media probably will report about it, and then later on Defense Ministry will confirm, as it usually happens. Also, well, interesting news from Hungary. There was a referendum there about, and one of the questions, as far as I can tell, was about Ukraine joining the EU, and we have some results. In Hungarian referendum, 95% of participants rejected Ukraine's EU membership. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban announced that an overwhelming 95% of citizens voted against Ukraine joining European Union in a national referendum, and this is obviously a big blow to ambitions of Western backed terrorist regime of Zelensky to join EU, because this is a referendum, and Hungarian leadership will have a big, major card now in its hands, isn't it? If Brussels will try to pressure Hungary, then Budapest will say, we all about democracy, isn't it? And well, people have said what is their take on the matter, and it is what it is. Only other referendum with other result now may change Budapest's position. So quite a clever move on part of Orban, who is definitely not happy with the Kiev regime, with the treatment that ethnic Hungarians are receiving in Ukraine, especially in Transcarpathia region, which is used to be part of Hungary before First World War, but then that area was taken from Hungary and given to Czechoslovakia, and after Second World War, Soviet Union, during the Stalin's reign, took that area again and gave it to Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic that was created on its own, was created on a Russian territory, historical Russian land. And as you know, dear friends, Stalin took not just Transcarpathia from Hungary, but also some 70% of modern Western Ukraine from Poland, and also quite significant part on southern western side of Western Ukraine from Romania. And when it comes to Romania, that country also lost Moldova, modern territory of Moldova, which also used to be part of Romania. Let me turn camera once again. If you remember, dear friend, I recorded an interview with Alex Christoforou in this exactly square, and maybe you can recognize this area, this monument. This is a monument for Kirill Mefodii, who basically are known as the creators of Kirillitsa, on which modern Russian alphabet is based, of course. And all this area, much wider actually, this is just a little part of it. There is, Kitai Gorod, or China town, is actually quite a big area here in Moscow. And I like architecture here, dear friends. I don't know what is your take, but this area is really, as many other areas, by the way, is really nice. Noisy, of course, because of the busy streets, but still very nice. And dear friends, I will cross now this street. We are moving towards Zaryadye Park, and so I have to cross now these streets and end up right there towards that white building. And once I'm there, I will continue with the news segment. So I have crossed those streets, and let me once again show you some views. You can see beautiful buildings of the churches. Let me zoom in. Hopefully it will work out okay. Wonderful church, isn't it? And let's continue with the news. And the next news is coming from President of Finland, who stated on the sidelines of NATO summit in Hague that at least until Trump is US president, Ukraine has no chances to join the NATO, which is not really a surprising statement, but that Ukraine will not join the NATO. But it is interesting that this personality, Finnish president, allied Ukraine's accession to NATO with Trump's presidency. I'm not sure either Washington or number of other capitals of NATO are going to be happy about this, because such statements obviously are generating further this false narrative that one day Ukraine might join NATO, which is obviously false. In no circumstances Ukraine as a state will join NATO. Western parts of it, after this former Soviet Republic will undergo full-scale disintegration, might join if Poland or Hungary and Romania will reclaim those territories, but definitely not the other part of Ukraine that is either already joined Russia or will join Russia, or at least will be in a zone of Russian influence. Definitely not in NATO. But anyways, that's what Finnish president stated, and we are getting closer to Zaryadye Park. Let me turn camera. This is one of the entrances. It's also a nice park, by the way. I have made updates here quite a few times, and a lot of people, as you can see. And beautiful view, in my opinion. Beautiful sights. Let me once again zoom in. Nice. And yes, let's continue with news. And next news is coming from Germany, dear friends. And quite interesting stuff had happened there. And to be more precise, repair facility in Erfurt, Germany, where Western weapons were for Ukraine were being served, has gone up in flames. And I shared video on my Telegram and Twitter X page. If you have seen, if you see that video, then you know that quite a number of military equipment that was destined for Kiev regime were destroyed as a result of this fire. And this is not the first time, by the way, when such facilities in NATO member states are caught in fire. I guess some anti-imperialist individuals that are living in Europe taking some action, and quite successfully. So what can I say? You know, I definitely have no issues with that. More logistical infrastructure of the NATO will be neutralized, the better, in my personal opinion, because it's NATO that is waging this proxy war against Russia. So I'm not going to feel sorry for that facility that was burned, at least partially, and for that equipment that was burned, because it was destined for this Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky. And what else do I have? Let me check. Of course, this topic of US strikes on Iran is still making waves and headlines. And as I reported this morning during the live stream, Pat Hexed and a number of other officials in US made a joint press conference today, and they spoke about once again how effective this strike on Iranian nuclear facilities were when US deploy B-2 bombers, and Hopefully quality of video is good, dear friends. I just want to share with you this nice view that I see right now. And of course you can see parts of Kremlin, you know, that way. And so yes, let's continue this little walk. And yeah, Pet Hexet spoke about, and some other officials from Pentagon spoke about effectiveness of that strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. And once again, they blamed media for being for not being truthful. And to be honest, dear friends, in this row between the U.S. leadership and local media there, I don't want to take no sides, but I think Pentagon looks like much less hostile, actually much less radical or extreme than media itself, because in my personal opinion, if media was really honest, they should talk about legality of the actions that Pentagon took, isn't it? Because that strike on Iran was absolutely illegal and unconstitutional. Yesterday I did watch update from Judge Napolitano, and he knows much better than I will ever know U.S. Constitution, and he said that this strike was absolutely unconstitutional, right? Excuse me, and I have no reason to not believe this statement from Judge. And so, yes, instead of talking about legality of this action that Pentagon took and White House, U.S. and Western media is focused on downgrading effectiveness of the strike, and by doing so, they are somewhat, looks like they are calling for or provoking additional strikes on those facilities, which is crazy, isn't it? Which is absolutely irresponsible, and definitely this is not the journalism what they are doing. That's for sure. And fine, maybe we should go on that one, bigger one. And so yeah, share your opinion, dear friends, what you think. But it is clearly, in my opinion, attempt on part of Western ruling class, neocons, globalists, Zionists, and their assets to basically further prepare ground for possible additional strikes on Iran, while pushing this false narrative about Iran's nuclear program, Iran's military nuclear program, which is non-existent, but tell this to Western propaganda. They don't care, right? And unfortunately, I'm afraid in a week or 2 weeks' time, once US will replenish missile stockpiles of Israel and weapon stockpiles, they might resume strikes. It might take week, 2, 3, but I'm afraid this summer we're gonna observe next phase of escalation in the Middle East. Unfortunately, that's how I see the situation. And on this very matter, dear friends, I have news that Israel might have used munition with depleted uranium while attacking Iran. This was reported by Fars News Agency. This is an Iranian news agency, I believe. And so I have quote from this media. There is a possibility that the Israeli regime used the depleted uranium munition during attacks on some sensitive centers in Iran. Preliminary testing at the impact sites showed traces of uranium, but there are not yet final conclusions made. Additional investigation is underway. Fars News Agency is reporting, and of course this is serious, isn't it? When I read this news first, I was thinking, well, either this trace of uranium is coming from facilities themselves, nuclear facilities that was attacked by Israel and then US. Or maybe in some cases, Israel actually used munition with depleted uranium. Investigation will say it. And one may ask, why would Israel use munition with the depleted uranium when, because of the density, isn't it? Depleted uranium used in many type of Western munition. Soviet Union abandoned it, and Russia also is abandoned the production of the munition with depleted uranium because of the radiation hazard. But NATO countries still continue to produce and use all sorts of munition for tanks, for different type of guns, for different type of bombs, especially bunker buster bombs, because this density of depleted uranium allows it to penetrate much more effectively target than ordinary munition. So let's see what investigation will say, but Fars News Agency is reporting based on its sources that local authorities are considering possibility that Israel used depleted uranium during attacks, and it's gonna, it will rain again. Nowadays, by the way, we have this type of weather here. It sometimes rains, sometimes it's rainy. Let me show you some surroundings. And let me well, it is raining, but it's okay. Let me just zoom in once again. Quality would not be great, but I just want to show you this view. So you can see this high-rising apartment building of the Foreign Ministry of Russian Federation. Then you can see part of the city, Kremlin, of course. And St. Basil's Cathedral, of course, iconic cathedral, iconic building, and the view. And dear friends, I will pause this video now until it's rain will stop, and then I will continue. Let's continue now. It's no longer raining, at least for now, for next I don't know how many minutes. And so let me continue with the news. And next news is also about Iran. New York Times, by the way, New York Times reported that Iran is preparing to strike American military bases and the naval assets in the Persian Gulf, and even to shut down the vital Strait of Hormuz if Israel violates their current ceasefire agreement. According to newspaper, Tehran only accepted the ceasefire with Israel because it is confident in its ability to hold its ground even under the threat of further aggression from the US and Israel. Interesting news. In one hand, we can take this news also as a part of this deception operation that Western media is engaged to prepare ground for further escalation. But on the other hand, I don't think it will take genius to understand that probably Tehran is considering possibility that after Israel will replenish its depleted stockpile of missiles, rockets, bombs, and so on, they might resume attacks on Iran together with NATO member states, US, UK, and others. And they are preparing, as they should, isn't it? So this news should not come as a kind of surprise. You know, we can hope that there will be no more escalation, but unfortunately, I see too many indicators that I talk about in my updates, at least about some of them. I see too many indicators that globalist neocon Zionists did not stop nothing. They take break, and in a couple of weeks' time, most likely they will resume their attempt to destabilize all of Middle East, not just Iran, but whole of Middle East. Let's see. And also, by the way, on the topic of Iran, the Guardian Council of Iran's constitution has approved a bill to suspend cooperation with the IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency. The official representative of the oversight body, Hadi Tahan Nazif, stated basically on the social network X, we have quote here, the drafter requiring the government to suspend cooperation with the IAEA was not found to be inconsistent with their Islamic law and their constitution after its review by the members of the Guardian Council. This person wrote, and this institution, Guardian Council of Iran's constitution, checks initiatives for compliance with their constitution and their Islamic norms. This is usually their final stage of approval of for the bills, and that means, I guess that well, Iran is no longer cooperating with IAEA, and for a reason, right? For a reason. IAEA completely discredited itself, isn't it? And IAEA's latest report, right before Israel began its strikes on Iran, definitely was seen by many as how should I say? Definitely was seen by many as an involvement of IAEA in all this operation. IAEA's leadership, at least, including Rafael Grossi himself, director of this formerly UN body. Let's see, maybe Supreme Leader of Iran will still veto. If I don't know, I'm not expert in Iranian law, right? And I don't know, maybe Supreme Leader has a right to veto any bill, even if this Guardian Council approved it. But I think it is highly likely that Iran will suspend its cooperation with IAEA, at least for the time being. At least for the time being, and I think many people will understand why. majority of people in this world probably will understand why. IAEA and the current leadership cannot be trusted, period. There is nothing to discuss there, you know. Also, well, on topic of IAEA, dear friends, Foreign Minister of Russian Federation, Sergei Lavrov, stated that US as an NPT treaty participant disregards its duties and functions of the IAEA. He reminds that there was no evidence Iran shifted its nuclear efforts to military programs. So, well, Sergei Lavrov is also critical of IAEA and also US and Israeli leadership for their actions against Iran's nuclear program, civilian nuclear program, and especially again in regards to US, because US is a participant in this non-proliferation treaty, while Israel never signed up for it, but US did. And US was obligated to protect rights of their treaty members, not to violate it, as Washington and Pentagon basically, as Washington did just a couple of days ago. So not just Russian leadership, but leadership of majority of the countries in this world are rightfully criticizing US for these unlawful actions. And dear friends, let me once again turn the camera, show you some views. Kremlin, famous St. Basil's Cathedral, and also I will zoom in this watch on a tower, one of the main towers of the Kremlin, and there is a red square there after cathedral, but I don't know, probably we will not go in that direction. It's a nice view, isn't it? Well, I still have a few more news, dear friends. I will share this, and that's gonna be it for this second update. Surprisingly, or interestingly, let's say, President of France flip-flopped once again, and if yesterday and day before he was calling for escalation with Russia, now he's saying that EU member states should consider resuming contacts with Moscow, which was severed after the escalation of the Ukraine conflict in 2022. According to Macron, despite being fully committed to boosting military capabilities within the NATO, the bloc's European members have no wish to endlessly aim themselves and endlessly arm themselves, and should in the near future negotiate a new security framework with Moscow. This is Macron, by the way, but yet again, this person is known for being quite a unserious politician. Today he can say one thing, tomorrow complete opposite. And even though this particular statement does make sense, I don't think globalists and globalist-controlled regimes in Europe are actually ready for de-escalation, ready to acknowledge defeat in this proxy war. And until this is the case, unfortunately, we are quite far away from at least attempt to normalize relationships between Moscow and the EU member states and the UK. This is the reality, and I guess I will end this new segment on this information, dear friends. Let me once again turn the camera, show you from close. St. Basil's Cathedral. And it is time to end the video. Also, thank you very much for your attention and support. Have a wonderful day and take care. See you soon.